Hey, I'm Jay, and this weekend I'm doing some hot tent camping, Kiser Lake State Park in west central Ohio. You can see the lake behind me here. Sun is going down over there. We got about maybe 10 to 15 minutes until the sun sets, so we got to get the tent set up. Beautiful sunset over the lake tonight. Have the tent set up and just got the chimney put on the stove. Gonna process down the firewood a little bit more and get a fire started. Now that is a tasty burger. Time for a really brief fireside chat. The burger was delicious. The beer was delicious. Well, the first half of it was. The second half I spilled in my tent, and it ran under my sleeping pad. I was able to save my sleeping bag. If that would have gotten wet, that would have been a big problem, but I was able to get that out of the way. Really just sad about losing the latter half of my beer. But anyways, I've got a little issue with the air pad. It's kind of slowly losing air. I've reinflated it 3 times now. And yeah, that's not great in terms of comfort. I'm not worried about insulation because I have a sheet of Reflectix and a foam pad underneath this. I always have those redundancies when I'm winter camping for situations just like this. So I don't think I'm going to deal with issues in terms of being too cold from the ground. We've had kind of a warm spell here in Ohio recently as well, even though the temperature tonight is going to go down into the low 20s. It's been relatively warm recently, so the ground is not super cold. So again, saved the sleeping bag from the beer spillage, and the air pad is leaking, but I think we can deal with that. 3 super awesome winter camping tips. Number 1, bring candy. The fat and the calories and the sugar is fuel for your body to keep you warm. It takes a lot of work to keep you warm, and this helps. You could ask your doctor if that's true, but that seems like a waste of time for both you and your doctor, so you should probably just take my word for it. Number 2, let's say that you spill, 10 to 14 ounces of beer. Let's just say that happens to you. Well, a great thing to have with you is one of these little microfiber towels, because then you can sop up the beer and, move it over into the grass. So these are great. And 3, have a wood stove. Not only for the awesome ambiance and the ability to cook on it, but you can take your sopping wet beer cloth, if that's something that happens to you, and you can set it over here and dry it out. It'll still smell like beer, which is a pretty cool feature, but it'll be dry.
Good morning. We got some snow last night.
I wanted to give a tour of the inside of this tent. This is a new tent. It might look very similar to the one, if you've seen my last video, that's the Luxe Mini Peak XL. This is the same design. That is a four-sided teepee tent or a pyramid tent. This is just bigger. It's not huge, but it's about 2 feet larger in either direction, and then it's a little taller too, so that I can stand up in it. So this is the first time using it. It's the Naturehike Ranch Fire, and I like it so far. So just giving you a little tour around the place. Obviously we have the stove here and some wood stored there. This is large enough to accommodate my backpacking chair here, which was one of the big things I wanted with upgrading to a slightly larger tent. I have it sitting on a rug here, otherwise it would sink into the mud there. You can see over there I've got some bins full of all my camping stuff, and then behind the chair I've got my cooler. And I'll show you this side of the tent when I'm sitting over there in the chair. All right, sitting in the chair now, again, the stove. And you can see on hanging from the top up there, I have a lantern. And this is the inner tent, so it's a mesh. Inner tent basically makes it into a double wall tent, which is good for managing condensation, good airflow and everything like that. And I have the sleeping pads, sleeping bag, pillow here. This inner tent, as you can see, is really large, lots of room for storage in there, so not lacking in, you know, places to put stuff in here. Moving outside the tent now, you can see, again, looks just like my old tent, just a little bit bigger, but I really appreciate it's got lots of tie out points here, guy out points that are reinforced. It's been really windy since I've been here, and the tent has stood up well to those winds. Obviously the stove jack over here with the chimney coming out. And again, this is the Naturehike Ranch Fire hot tent. Time for coffee. Finally out of the tent and going on a hike. Okay, did the wetland trail along Mosquito Creek, and then that connected me over to the Red Oak Trail and did that one as well. I'm gonna head back to the campsite now, get the fire going again and the stove, have that second cup of coffee. One of the best things about winter camping, this whole campground on this beautiful lake, all for me. I will take it. Home sweet home. All right, enjoyed the coffee and some relaxing while I dried out my socks and my hat and my boots after that hike. And now we're gonna try some fishing. See if we have any luck. You win this time. Fish. Back from fishing. Gonna process some firewood and get ready for dinner. Got all my wood split and my kindling cut down for dinner tonight and breakfast tomorrow. So that's a good feeling. Just gonna relax a little bit and then get to work on dinner. Remember how I spilled half of my beer yesterday? Well, my booze luck just continues because I brought a bottle of wine for tonight because I'm having a steak, just be real fancy with it. And I forgot a corkscrew. So I used various techniques here. I tried a couple different things. I tried a lighter, a shoe, and eventually was trying to just kind of pry the cork out with my knife. And here's what I ended up with. It's a broken bottle. I'm fairly certain that no glass or cork went in by the way it came off of here. But I've got a clean microfiber towel, so not the beer towel from last night, that I'm gonna filter this through to ensure that nothing untoward gets into my body. So that's where we're at right now. I think one of the best things about camping is how it teaches you to adapt and you know, figure out interesting solutions to your problems. You hear this? It's ridiculous. Why can't geese just be geese and hang out and chill? They have to just make noise their entire day. It's ridiculous. We hear you! Steak was good. Corn was good. It was all good. Always filter your wine, folks. Don't take any risks. Okay, one of the toughest things about camping is to keep your wine towel and your beer towel, you know, separate and distinct. And I know you might be thinking, well, that seems almost impossible. But, you know, for instance, this one has a giant wine stain on it, which is a dead giveaway that it's our wine towel. And then this one smells like a frat house. So that's the giveaway that it's our beer towel. So those are just some tips to tell the two towels apart. Fireside chat night 2. So I mentioned last night that my air pad was not holding air. Continues to be the case. It's deflating in the course of like 10 minutes, so I've stopped trying to re-inflate it. It has to be like a pinhole leak somewhere, so I'm going to put it in the bathtub when I get home, fill the tub with water, and that should allow me to see the bubbles where it's leaking and I can repair it. As I noted, I have the 2 pads underneath. I've also put all of my extra clothes in between the foam pad and the air pad. It is a lot colder tonight, about 20 degrees colder, or 24 degrees right now. And I can feel it in the ground. It's you know, I can feel the cold coming up even as I'm laying here. The air pad is insulated, primarily, I believe, with like Mylar sheets, right? And so it does still insulate, even if it's not inflated, just not nearly as well. So I wasn't worried about staying warm last night. I'm a little concerned about it tonight, but I think ultimately it will be all right. If worst comes to worst, I will, you know, keep the fire going through the night if I have to. That's not something I prefer to do, but if I have to do it, I have to do it. So we'll see how it plays out. Fried maple spam, cheese, egg on an English muffin. That was a delicious sandwich. First time doing it with a maple spam. High marks indeed. I ended up sleeping very well last night. I went to bed at about 11:30 and didn't toss or turn until about 6:45 this morning. Went back to bed and woke up just a little bit before 8 o'clock. So slept well, slept warm. Air pad wasn't an issue for keeping me warm. Not the most comfortable sleep I've ever had, but it'll just make me appreciate my mattress at home more. How about that? And we'll get it fixed for the next trip. So just gonna have some coffee here and then start getting ready to go. Cheers. It's a beautiful morning. All packed up and on the road. Hey, thanks for joining me for another hot tent adventure. Did some fun hiking, tried to fish. Well, we did fish, we just didn't catch anything. But it was great to get out. It was a beautiful weekend, had a little bit of snow, had some really good food, half a beer and a bottle of wine with only minimal amounts of broken glass and cork in it. So we survived another one. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.